Have you been waiting for someone to approve your goal, a sign, better confidence, a plan? Well, this video is that permission. And if we're being honest, you never need anyone else's permission but your own. We'll go over 3 steps in this video, guarantee some success. Note to self. So in this video today, we're going to just go over the 3 easy steps to accomplish almost anything. And the first one, we've already kind of went over, the approval, the permission. You don't need anybody's permission nowadays. In fact, opportunities are like endless. It's probably the best time we'll ever have to do anything that we really want to do. The, gatekeepers are a thing of the past. In the music industry, you used to have to basically submit a song or do something, and you would just straight up, yes, no, try better, submit something else, and you would submit to all these record labels, where nowadays you have social media and music platforms. If you're a musician, you can pretty much just make your own, pave your own path, and you don't need anyone's permission. All you really need is your own desire to do that. And, you don't need permission to go to the bathroom, or you don't need permission to do anything else in your life. Why are you waiting for the permission for something you're really interested in doing? Without the need to ask for permission, you can just grant yourself the ability to try anything you want to try. Are you interested in sewing? Are you interested in fishing? Are you interested in anything? Just give yourself permission to do it. There's imposter syndrome and a lot of other things that happen, but if you give yourself the permission, which just by doing something is the permission. I would say it's easy to realize that other people don't care about what you're doing anyway, so why do you care so much about what other people think? It's very easy to fall into that trap. When you're thinking about, coming up with an idea, and you want to share it with someone, and then they, bad mouth it, or, kind of give you that sense of, well, you don't really need that permission. And just get going. Other people will not understand what you're doing. That's one thing you have to try to get out of your mind as quickly as possible is, you want to share your ideas and kind of get input, but if the response isn't what you wanted, take that with a grain of salt. You can share like a new song or whatever you're working on with somebody, and if you value their opinion, perhaps maybe how to change it or modify it, but no one's going to understand why you're into something. So just get your own permission. I'll give you permission. You just have permission to do whatever you want. And don't let the idea of a roadblock stop you. And this will lead us into the second one. So the second one, I would say this is the most important. The first one was just kind of just to get that permission out of the way. But the second one, number 2, is start with the end in mind. Set a plan, set a goal. Sounds so trivial, so simple, and it's oftentimes overlooked, as, yeah, I'm going to lose some weight. Oh, I'm going to start a business. But there's no definitive end there. So if you're going to lose some weight, you need to say how much you're trying to lose. Set that goal. If you want to lose 20 pounds, and you're like, I don't know how to do it, that's okay, because if you set the end, and then you go back to the beginning and just start, now you can fill in the gaps as you go. There's actually lots of like self-help books and other, influencers that kind of talk about this process. But if you know the last step and the first step, you'll figure out the stuff in between. And I think it's, important to remember that if you have something that you've imagined and that you can get to, if it's not arbitrary, you'll get to that. So by just saying, oh, I'm going to start a business, it kind of clears your mind of, I need to get this done. There's no time limit. There's no anything to really motivate you. So if you actually say, okay, I'm going to start a business making cookies, for example. Okay, now I need to learn recipes to make cookies. And if you're really passionate and you really want to sell them or figure out how to make it a business, you'll learn the next step. You just need to know what you want to do, when you want to do it by. Also, you should definitely try to say, oh, I want to make $1 million in 1 year. Okay, what's the first step? You start there, and then you work your way up. You'll always try to make a perfect plan. You'll always try to think, oh, I need to have this perfect before I begin. But I'll do a whole other video on the perfection part. It's really going to stall you out. So just give yourself the opportunity to fail. Just start. So this does lead to the third part, which is fine-tune, iterate, basically analyze the data. So what is the data telling you? Is the data telling you this is working? Is the data telling you this is not working? So if you have your goal already done, you've already given yourself permission, and you've started, so you started working out, you're going to lose weight, and then you weigh yourself a week later, nothing. Another week later, nothing. Shoot, my goal was to lose 5 pounds in a month. Okay, why isn't that working? Oh, diet. Okay, so you think, oh, I just need to stop eating things. You work out some more, you're eating certain things, still no weight loss. Okay, what's not working? You're fine-tuning and iterating that process. Oh, maybe I'll try a calorie deficit. Okay, working out, making sure you're hitting your calorie goal. That's probably the simplest way to make sure that you're on track and you're measuring that. So if you measure what's happening, you're going to make progress. Look at the data. What's it telling you? Is this something other people are not going to be interested in? Is this something that you're not doing right? Are you missing a component? Look at the data, research a different option. If you keep doing the exact same thing over and over, you're going to get the exact same results. So if you look at the results as they are and look what can you improve on every time you keep going back to analyze. Now don't make this a thing where you're analyzing every single step along the way. You need time for things to develop. The fun part here is if you just take these 3 steps and you keep doing it, you'll get momentum in one area. Don't just apply it to your ultimate big goal. Start somewhere small, like, oh, I'm going to cook breakfast every morning. I can eat a little healthier so I'm not rushing out the door eating a Pop-Tart or stopping at McDonald's or whatever it is. And, say by the end of the month I'll have done 2 breakfasts a week. Eggs or blueberries or whatever your breakfast is, yogurts. But if you start small in one area, you'll find that then your next goal, you'll believe yourself. You've given yourself permission to succeed in one area, and you'll move on to the next thing. So again, you have permission. You are all the permission you need. Next, what's the end of something you're going to do? Doesn't matter what it is. Find the end, find the beginning, and then get started. You'll figure everything else out in the middle. And then iterate. If something's not working, but you're passionate about what you want to do, why is it not working? How can you get better? What do I need to improve? Make metrics of all of this information. It's kind of like these YouTube videos. What you'll do is you'll post it and you'll see what the metric is, and you'll figure out how can I improve the next one. Improve, improve, improve. And that's pretty much it. If you want to follow along with the stories, with what I'm doing here, I'd be happy if you subscribe. I'm kind of going to try to do content kind of like this, little strategies, and even older videos I've done were ideas that I kind of just felt like were important to me, but also would be important to you. So together we can build something great. Find out your passion and get it done. Bye.